warmer, humid ambient air during loading. It forms those white clouds that you see around Falcon 9.
Hey, everybody. We're here
Stage
just
1
in
LOX
time.
load is complete.
And there's that call out that LOX load is complete on the first stage. Now for your awareness, second stage will complete LOX loading at T-minus 2 minutes.
Go ahead
and
and
at
push me your
T-minus
link,
60 seconds,
Rich, when you're
Falcon
ready,
9
and
will
I'll
be in
throw it
startup.
up.
And what that means is the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers will have taken over the launch countdown. Just inside T-minus 2 seconds, we will light the Merlin M1D engines to get set for liftoff. With a few minutes left in the countdown, the SXM-8 payload continues to be healthy, and the Falcon 9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. The surrounding ground, water, and airspace received its green for launch from the range. So, with about 2 minutes left, getting into the final stages of the countdown. LOX loading should be complete here in a few seconds.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
And there's that call out. Now both first and second stage fully loaded with LOX. So now that LOX loading is complete, we will clear out the LOX line on the transporter erector, and you can kind of see some of that venting happening. As I mentioned, those white clouds from the LOX hitting the warmer ambient air and turning into gas.
T-1.
The next event coming up is Falcon 9, going into startup just around T-minus 1 minute.
Flight computers in startup.
And there's that call out. Next call out will be from the launch director.
Yeah.
Falcon 9, Sirius XM-8, LD is go for launch.
And awesome call out. Sounds like we are go for an on-time liftoff today.
T-minus 30 seconds.
And with all systems go for launch, let's listen in to the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes the SXM-8 satellite into orbit.
Yeah.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off with the SXM-8 satellite from Space Launch Complex 40. Now the next event coming up. Next event coming up here is Max Q, and that is maximum aerodynamic pressure. That's the largest structural load that the vehicle will see on ascent. So we do power down the engines just slightly in preparation. And then
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
After Max Q, we will throttle them back up.
Do you guys have live chat? Hallelujah.
Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
I have.
And there's that call that we just passed through Max Q. So in about a couple of minutes, we will have 3 events happening within seconds of each other. That'll be main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, stage separation, and SES-1, or second engine start 1. Now, main engine cutoff is where we shut down all 9 of those M1D engines on that first stage. And that slows the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation. Stage separation is where the first stage separates from the second stage. And the first stage will begin to make its way back home to Earth for landing. And stage 2 will continue on its journey with the third event, SES-1. Now that's where the MVAC engine on the second stage lights up and propels the second stage along with the SXM-8 satellite to orbit. We're just under about 20 seconds away from those 3 events. Again, that is MECO,
So hi,
stage
TK.
separation, and SES-1.
I'd type to you, but my YouTubes appear to be broken. It's like we're getting ready for separation,
MECO.
looks like.
Stage separation
There it goes.
confirmed. MVAC ignition.
And there you could see all 3 of those events, MECO and stage separation. On your left-hand screen is a view of first stage. On your right-hand screen, you could see that MVAC engine on the second stage, glowing
such a
bright
beautiful
red. You
thing.
also got a little glimpse of the green T-TEB ignition for SES-1. Now we're coming up on fairing deploy here, just under 10 seconds away.
Vehicles on a nominal trajectory.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there we got a nice live visual of the fairing halves deploying from second stage. As a reminder, this was the first flight
Yeah,
for
I
both
had to
fairing
back
halves, and we will be
out
attempting to recover
and
these
go
new fairing
back to
halves with the
subscriptions
help
and
of our
click back
recovery
into the
vessel's
video.
Go Navigator.
And then it brought it back up. I meant to be wearing a different shirt, so it's clean. It's just got paint stains
As
on
second
it.
stage head towards its targeted orbit, stage 1 will execute 2 burns in order to make its way back to Earth. The first of those 2 burns is called the entry burn, and that's where we light up 3 of the 9 M1D engines. Now this helps to slow re-entering back into the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. And then after the entry burn will be the second and final burn, and that is the landing burn. Now this is a single engine burn that brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to touch down on our drone ship. Again, today we will be attempting to land on just read the instructions. If you're just catching up with us, we had a successful launch of Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station's 40 launch pad. And now you're looking at a live view of Falcon 9's Stage 2 as it delivers the Light 2 orbit. Stage 1 is currently cruising back to our drone ship. Just read the instructions in the Atlantic Ocean.
Not that I'm aware of.
And as a reminder, today's mission is for Sirius XM,
Then I'm the only one talking.
carrying the SXM-8 satellite to its targeted orbit.
Falcon 9 continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
And SXM-8 is the 12th satellite to be launched for Sirius XM service. It transmits 73 decibel watts at peak power, which is 20 million
Your
watts
desktop
of power.
audio? How do I capture your desktop audio?
Now, deploying the unfurlable reflector is like opening a large umbrella in space. And a very large umbrella, it's about 9 meters or 29 feet, which is taller than the average 2-story house. Now, with the solar arrays deployed, the length of the satellite is about the same length as a 737 airplane. Now, we're coming up on entry burn on the first stage, just under 10 seconds away or so.
Right. Well, I have desktop audio completely
Stage 1
muted.
FTS has saved.
So
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
try talking now.
And there you heard the call out, and on your left-hand screen, you could see that the entry burn has begun on the first stage.
Nothing.
Seconds or so.
How's that?
Oh, there you
And again,
go.
it helps to slow the vehicle down
Okay.
as it's entering back into the Earth's atmosphere.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And again, there's that call out, and you can see on your left-hand screen that the
I love
entry
watching
burn
that
has,
reburn through the grid fins.
on your right-hand screen, stage 2 is still looking nominal.
Right.
And we're just about a minute away from the landing burn on the
Looks
first
really
stage. And right before the landing burn will be second engine cutoff 1 or SECO 1. And that's where we shut down that MVAC engine that you're looking at on your screen there. The reminder, we do have 2 burns of this MVAC engine for today's mission.
I
and
don't
helps
see
get
anything
the-
coming from
terminal
you.
guidance.
That helps get the SXM-8 satellite to its final orbit.
Stage 1 transonic.
That's weird. Because I don't have any, the only speakers in the room are on my ears.
Again, a couple events happening back to back here. SECO 1
Stage
coming up
2's
here
flight
shortly,
termination system has safed.
followed by the landing burn.
Stage 1 landing burn startup.
Okay.
Sounds like the landing burn has begun on first stage. You can see,
Expected loss of signal. Cape.
sounds like we also got a good orbit on the
parking
second
orbit
stage.
insertion.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Tango
And we
Delta.
have touchdown of Falcon 9. Falcon 9 has
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
just landed on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. Today marks the 87th overall successful recovery of an orbital class rocket, as well as SpaceX's 125th successful mission to date. Now, while that was all happening, we did have a successful SECO 1.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the test stream that we did earlier to see what audio was coming through where. Okay. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. You're right. Let's bring it over just a little bit.
Expected loss of signal. Bermuda.
I just remembered something.
Okay, I should be piping you guys through audio now. If you want to try
Check, check.
it. Yeah, that lit up.
Right, so it seems that maybe we didn't have audio for a little while.
What about you, Rich?
Check, check.
Yeah, there's you.
And I also just fixed my chroma issue.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
I just remembered something. Hang on. I need to bring that saturation down a tiny bit. There we go. That's better. My apologies. I knew there was a reason it wasn't working. I missed a step.
I'm not showing as a participant watching the video.
Hmm?
It's only showing the master login on participants watching. That's funny.
So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna
'Cause
uncheck that.
I'm watching as Astro Roadie, so that's weird.
If it's going to be a while before we hit SES2, and now that I've got a share screen, guys, do we want to go back to the beginning of the launch so we can do some commentary along it as well?
I
Yeah.
need to make coffee, so can I have my video feed just vanish for a few minutes while I top coffee up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Me and Joey got this.
You are ghosted.
Thank
And then
you.
Alright.
I go to this one,
And you can simply
and I
scroll back to
go
launch.
interact, and
And every month, as a springboard to celebrate, learn the SXM-8 vehicle satellite TE clamps strong back retract.
Can I hear it through
Now at this liftoff today.
okay. I've paused it at T-minus 31. Do you want to check audio, make sure you're hearing anything?
No, I'm on about the audio of the stream itself.
Mm-hmm. I was with you.
But I'm not going to hear anything if it's paused.
I thought you were scrubbing back. Okay.
Oh, right, hang on.
T-minus
Where
30
did
seconds.
you scrub it back to? I can scrub it back to simultaneous.
No, just go back a few minutes in the live stream and see if you can hear us talking just a minute ago.
Ah, I see.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're streaming from a completely different setup for the first time. In a completely reconfigured studio with lots of new equipment and clean installs on computers and things. So we tried to get everything done and up faster, but we didn't do it so well.
Okay, so no audio from me or Aaron earlier on in the stream.
Right. And I didn't think there would be. I wasn't capturing it, but at all, just a minute ago in the stream even.
I was only looking at when I could see mine or Nut's mouth moving.
Okay. So what about like 3 seconds ago when you were just talking just now? Is it working now?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And with all systems go for launch, let's listen into the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes the SXM-8 satellite into
OBS
orbit.
Just changed from all the
T-minus 15 seconds.
restream information that was there.
10, 9,
Okay.
8, 7,
So let's
6,
do some commentary here. I
5,
can't hear any
4,
audio because it's not
3,
being monitored, which
2,
means that I won't
1,
be able to hear it.
0.
But I can still
Ignition
comment.
and lift off.
Yeah, that was a really nice smooth launch.
Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
Vehicle switching downrange.
Should have audio on that now.
Yes, I do. Excellent.
Let's go ahead, and since we're futzing around, looking like real professionals. And let's go back.
And you can kind of see some of that venting happening, as I mentioned, those white clouds.
Can you bring the stream
And when
audio
all
down?
systems go
It's
for
a little
launch,
bit loud.
let's listen into the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes the SXM-8 satellite into orbit.
$250 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and lift off.
The monitoring is causing an audio feedback on the live stream. So you're going to have to turn that monitoring off, sadly.
Vehicle switching.
Because it's coming up double time, so or it's playing double.
Yeah. All right.
Need to figure out another way to pipe the audio.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't worry about it just now. I can still comment on it without even the audio. So the first thing at this point in the launch that you notice is as it's breaking through the clouds, it's making some rather nice patterns as it's going through. And as we near max Q, the brightness, as you can see here, starts to go up. This is not exactly sure why that happened, actually.
And I'm just looking at it going, okay, the cameraman is doing this with his filters. He's changing his ISO with this. Does he have this lens or this lens? Probably neither. He probably has a much nicer lens than I'm looking at.
You can see the plumes of each individual engine start to spread out here as well.
I just love that look as they fan out like that. It's just like that and the mock diamonds. Like,
oh yeah, the mock
diamonds. Give me a side by side view of that, and I'm in heaven. I'm in rocket heaven. Then you add the audio, the rocket blaring, and I'm just dreaming everything.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Let me bring you back on. There we go.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Need to alter my focus.
So we've scrubbed back and are rewatching some of the launch and chit-chatting about it and things.
There we go. Fixed my focus. Can we jump back there just a minute to when the bell nozzle lights up on the second stage?
It's one of the best bits.
So for viewers who may not have seen a SpaceX launch before, and I know that's not very many, but there still are people out there who still haven't seen SpaceX launches. When the stage separation happens, you might notice some debris come from the end of the engine bell. Now what this is the engine bells are made from actually a rather quite flexible material. So in order to keep its shape as they're going up into space, they have a small ring of cork that runs right around the outside of the engine bell. And when you see the engine bell fire up, you will see this ring of cork literally peel away from the engine. This is completely normal operation. It's literally known as a ring stiffener, and it's supposed to fall away at this point. And there you see it. Just fade away there.
It's that little stringy bit flying off.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you can see the different layers as they build it. So you can see different segments of the bell heating up at different rates. That's just fascinating.
Yeah.
And
One of the bits I most enjoy about a launch is watching the engine bell heat up on the second stage.
Yeah.
So when those grid fins came out there, I can't tell if it's because they've been painted over white or whether there's actually ice on them from having been flown before. They looked very, very like super white coming up.
It's because of the darkness of the night sky and the flicker of the second stage engine is lighting them up. So it's in complete darkness, but the flicker of the engine over the side of the boost, that's why it fades out.
Mm-hmm.
On some of the launches, you see that space blanket that they've got wrapping some of the engine components. Sometimes that's real flappy. And it looks like they've got it pretty secure on this one.
To let you guys know that on the actual live version, we're coming up to SES2 now. If you'd like to jump back.
Yeah.
Little fuel droplets floating around and ice pieces and dust particles and who knows what's it nots.
Oh. I see a Jesse. Oh, we're
On
right
the
on
live stream, look, Joey's arms continue from Jesse's shoulders. On the live stream.
Oh, I almost had my coffee go down the wrong hole there. Oh. Oh.
Apologies to all the folks who came here to see Jesse.
I guess I should have moved us to the other side when they kept putting her on that side.
$35 seconds. That's quite a fair burn. Normally, SES involves just a puff. Must mean they're going for some crazy delta V to alter that path.
Well, they're Sirius XM, so they're a higher altitude, so they're going to need a pretty good size burn. V. Yeah, they're going to need that extra burn. So when it reheated up, it looks that bell looks quite a bit different this go round on the reheat.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
Not as many segments, and then you can see that kind of like rippling on that middle segment there.
So about 3 minutes away.
Yeah. Lovely pictures. You see the sun coming off the side of the bow nozzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now that's a nice
payload.
picture. That's just a picture. That is. You see Earth's.
Yeah.
I was going to say corner there for a minute, but I don't want to end it.
As I already told you, we need to stop it with the flat earther jokes. We keep pushing them over the edge.
Did they?
Go on. I'm hoping they'll show us the other view again, where we see the Earth.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Did they say how many satellites were on this launch?
There we go.
It's just a Sirius SXM-1, isn't it? SXM-8. So you can tell it's really early in the morning.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it's just one really big satellite.
If anybody's wondering, by the way, they're cruising at rich LB miles per hour.
That's some pretty fast astro roadie.
Just that view, though.
It's spectacular.
They keep taking it. They should just leave it on that camera.
Yeah, but they want to show off the little bokeh there and the lens flare.
J.J. Abrams will be proud.
See, now the space blanket's a lot more poofed out than it was earlier.
Yeah.
Some gases are escaping into there and poofing it out, maybe.
Possibly. Bearing in mind the entire outside of that is hard vacuum, so
it wouldn't take much.
Okay, should be coming up to the deploy.
That's a nice view too, with the Earth just kind of poking in.
Yeah. You can just see it coming in at the top there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cloud cover. Oh, we lost the Earth here now.
It's gone. Where'd it go?
Oh, there it is.
Oh, I see it. I see it. I think that's CGI. That's fake.
Jesse's struggling just as much on this.
It's too late for those guys, too early for us. Perfect. I bet there's Aussies everywhere thankful that
there it goes.
There it goes. There we go. That is one big satellite.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I wonder what engine that is on it.
That's one of the Maxar designed ones, I think.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or can you slowly see the solar panel trying to deploy? Because there's a shadow between the underside of the solar panel and the craft.
It looks like it is working on it.
Yeah, it is. It's trying to deploy. Yeah, there it goes. It's deploying a solar arrays. Oh, don't cut the feed.
Oh. Oh. Come on. This isn't an NROL launch. Come on.
Oh, well, we just got to see the solar array start.
Yeah.
In fact, if you wind it back there a second, we can replay that.
The irony is that somebody at SpaceX has to sit and watch that anyway. Like, they might as well just stream it over that additional bit and show us that nice solar deploy.
There we go. We can watch the deploy again here now. So I think you missed it the first time, no?
Some Sirius XM guy is standing there. Okay, now kill the feed.
Do it. There it goes. So you can see just before they kill that feed, you can see the solar array is starting to extend out very slowly.
Yeah, just barely, yeah.
Out there, you'll start to see it.
Yeah. And that's all she wrote, I think. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Let's see.
So yeah, that was pretty routine launch. They make it look easy at this point.
You watch SpaceX do a mission like that, and then you wonder why it's taken certain other companies as long as it has to get to orbit.
Yeah. It's really interesting that, like, for a Starlink launch, they have that real quick burn an hour after launch, roughly. And then the deploy a little bit after that. And then this one, it was just like, you know, we're 32 minutes after launch and deploy is done, you know?
Yeah.
It's clockwork.
Yeah, it is. Very much so.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
super fast.
with that in mind, we should probably call it quits here also, unless there's any other parts you guys want to rewatch.
I wanted to watch Re-Entry a little bit.
All right, let's talk about it coming down.
I think that's where I want to be. I was noticing something. I wanted to see if you guys notice. Because I don't think I've ever seen it before. It's coming right up.
I'm loving the Panda Cup Rich. I was watching Panda ASMR yesterday. It was just a panda sat eating bamboo.
Yeah. Right, come on. Show us these.
There
we
here
go.
It comes.
Right. Here's the second feed.
I think it's just getting ready for the re-entry burn.
Just a couple of RCS fires, I think, there. I think that's what they are.
There's the grid fins catching a little bit of light. Maybe this isn't the spot I was seeing it.
Keep going anyway. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. There we go. Okay, so they are actually using the grid fins. Seeing how the wind goes through.
Okay, this is kind of it here, because you see like these stringy things coming at you. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. It's like these stringy vortexes coming off of the grid fins.
Yeah.
So I think what that is remember how I said the grid fin was white earlier?
Mm-hmm.
If that was a buildup of ice, when it re-enters, that ice is going to eventually reach a point where it melts, and it's coming through a cloud bank.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of moisture on the fin. Now, when the wind goes through that fins, it acts as an accelerator for the moisture to push it back the way towards the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So the extreme velocity turns the moisture on the rocket into plasma, Joey. That's what you're seeing there.
It's a water vapor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't recall ever seeing it on camera in those vortex flows where it's like, it looked really stringy, you know. I don't think I've ever.
Two explanations come to mind. One, they've never really shown the camera at that section where they come down before, and two, the weather conditions have to be quite moist for this to work.
Right.
Especially coming through cloud banks, as heavy clouds.
Right.
Add to which you've got it. It's all compressed anyway, where it's been shoved aside from the Falcon incoming. It gets pressed. Well, I'm holding my finger like that here, by the way. Those grid fins holes are like that.
Yeah, they're a lot bigger.
But it's being compressed. It's being compressed through that at the same time to create such string effect as it disperses, coming back out those grid fins.
Right.
So you just sat there perfectly nicely, no problem whatsoever.
X marks the spot almost every single time. Look, you couldn't get what you've got to like. What blows my mind every time is the thought that both the ship and the rocket there did that autonomously, whilst both on the move at sea, also on waves that are moving,
right.
And yet somehow two pieces of equipment managed to work together autonomously without human interference and nail that landing.
I'm pretty sure the humans would just muck it up, you know? That
human error accounts for most failure.
Right. Right. You know, take the human out of the loop and you've got one less point of failure.
Yeah. But it's just incredible to think that, I mean, especially Falcon's just off-the-shelf hardware pretty much. Like, it's just a Linux operating system, you know. It's not like some NASA super secret rocket code or anything like that. It's just a Linux operating system that's been programmed really well.
I think some of it's low-level programming, maybe just C, or there might be other low-level programming they use as well. But C, I'm sure for the high-level application, they still use C++, which is really cool because it's a really widely used programming language. So it's really, really good to get people for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not doing anything in BASIC, though.
No, definitely not.
Pretty sure they don't have any process. I mean, I did my first bit of programming using punch cards, so, and the computer was barely still working that I did that on. It needed a little bit of nursing to get it to actually read the cards and function properly, but. I mean, it was only 20 years out of date when I got my hands on it.
The oldest machine I'd ever worked with had a tape drive. Actually, no, tell a lie. I believe one of them had the actual floppy drives. You know, the big actual floppy ones.
The 5 1/4 discs.
Yes, the one you put them in and you got the little tab that you go and then lock it down.
I remember playing Lemmings on that.
Yeah,
The big
lemmings.
multiple discs,
Lemmings.
like, lock it in, lemmings. You just got to throw lemmings off a cliff.
The
In
second bit
search
of
of a
programming. Yeah, the second bit of programming I did was on a Commodore 64 that had those 5 1/4 discs, and that
Yeah.
It was
was my dad had a.
Amstrad for me.
Go ahead.
It was on an Amstrad the first time. The first machine I ever touched, the first like PC or computer, however you want to define it, was the Amstrad. We had this one donated from an office, and it had one of the big printers, with the ream cut down the side, like the punch cut with the holes in,
Mm-hmm.
and it'd print off just one giant long sheet,
Yeah.
and it had about maybe 6 good uses for a child.
Yeah. Dot matrix printer.
That's the one. Dot matrix printer.
Yeah, my dad had a subscription to a Commodore 64 magazine of some sort. I don't remember what the magazine was called, but it had printed code in there. So you'd get like 2 or 3 little short quick program codes in each issue. And you'd just grab one of those magazines, and they didn't tell you what the programs did. You had to type them in and save them to disk and run them to see what they did. And so it was just hours and hours of typing these codes in and hoping you didn't have a typo. Because if you had a typo, they usually just completely wouldn't work. It was
syntax error.
Yeah.
Syntax error, line 75.
You have just bricked your Commodore 64.
Oh man! Right.
And nowadays we're getting Raspberry Pis and putting all sorts of different things on them.
But I mean, that's the way the Maker has progressed forward. Like, even through the pandemic, it seems that makers turned to PPE, and it became more of an acceptable norm to be a maker, as people were 3D printing face shields and things.
Right.
Like, it's always just been about tinkering and adapting, and I think the pandemic sort of accentuated the status of makers within the mainstream society.
Right.
And gave us a new way to be creative and unique in face masks.
So I think once we see this deploy again, we should probably call the stream at that point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think one of our Twitter friends just came to join us.
Oh.
As well. AK9DJ should be somewhere close, but I have no view of the YouTube chat. But she did just say that she'd stop over and say hi.
I can see the live chat. 1 second. I've just got the chat up now, so if she does say something, I'll be able to see it.
She was having issues with the SpaceX stream. I invited her over here, but she only just clocked it as SpaceX have gone off the air.
Oh, if we have somebody that wants to see it, we can scrub back and watch the whole thing for her if we want. I got time.
Just watch it back.
And where's the reverse play button? Let's watch it. Let's watch it land.
And this is how SpaceX land a rocket, by combining it into one piece and then landing it.
See, there's no space debris here.
See, watching and reading things backwards always end badly. I remember watching The Hungry Caterpillar backwards. It's just about a bulimic butterfly. You read the Bible backwards, Jesus really isn't a nice guy. There's 5,000 people enjoying a nice get-together. You should see what he does to the place.
Oh, no.
Do you like that one, Rich? You can have that one for free, mate. Your face just looks gone red with it.
That's the problem when the color actually works on this thing. I have a generally quite red face anyway.
I look like a vampire, but like, let me just tell you, there's a lot of light in this room. It's just because I look like a vampire generally. I'm quite a white person.
I've managed to actually get a little bit of my farmer's tan going again. I noticed. It's like, huh. I didn't think I'd been out in the... I didn't think I'd spent that much time out in the sun this year.
That is a chunky bicep. But what you should do just before we go off the air, right? Because anybody that's watching this back, you'll have watched us show this part like 3 times. You should now make a comparison for the size of the Falcon 9 fairing and something like a shipping container just on stream, just so people can actually... Because like when you look at these satellites getting launched on top of a Falcon, like... Me, especially when I came into it and I was a new starter, I was like, oh, look at the pretty rocket. And I thought it was just this small thing. And like, you know, a Falcon 9's like, 12 stories tall without the payload fairing section. I'd be pretty sure that the SXM-8 satellite is around the size of a shipping container.
That's a fair size.
Little bit smaller. I bet it would fit inside of a shipping container pretty easily, with a little with room to secure, because the diameter of the fairing is what, 5.25 meters. I mean, they can take a Falcon 9 down the freeway with an escort, can't they? Like, that was their goal, was to have it easily transported.
Yes. There is a US launch report. I mean, we don't have permission to stream their footage, but the US launch report, if anybody is watching this back, usually within a couple of days, will upload some really nice close on the ground footage of A, it landing, and B, it being carried out the Cape.
Yeah.
Like, there's a I'll link it here in the Discord server, Joey. There's a picture for good reference. Oh no, wait. Huh. That's not the right one.
So I can tell you now that the mass of the SXM-8 is roughly around 7 tons.
See, now 7 tons is not small. This is my point. You see, like, you drive a hatchback, Rich. Your hatchback probably weighs like...
I drive an estate.
You drive an estate. I thought it was a hatchback. But okay, how much does your estate weigh? No more than about 1.5, right?
Let me look real quick.
I would imagine at the outside.
Third of a quarter ton.
1.2 to 1.5 tons, depending on the.
So 1.2. So in terms of mass, that's more than 4 times the mass of your motor vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That's some fairly big satellite, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. So to give you an idea, if you wanted to show something like this on stream, that's a NASA image. That's the Sentinel-6 payload, which is around about the same size. But you can see that because I mean it's really hard to gauge. I always just assumed that it'd be like, you know, when I saw the Starlink satellites for the first time, I assumed they were the size of your standard flat screen television in your house or something, because they're just all squashed and flat like pancakes. And then you sort of get to see pictures like the one I've just sent over, or there's another ESA one over on the Discord server for you. Gives you a bit of a better idea as to the size of these things, really. Quite astounding.
Let's see here. Let's go.
And things like that. Things like, because I mean, like, you see, like, the NASA videos of, like, the Perseverance and Ingenuity helicopter, and, like, Derek at Veritasium was like, this little thing's going to fly on Mars, and it's just this little helicopter in his hand, and so it gives you a really hard time trying to gauge it sometimes. And then there's also a picture of the TESS that's inside a fairing. That gives a really good example of the fairings, because once again, it's hard to kind of understand the size of the fairings.
Right.
Sometimes I think, especially for Brits, like me as a Brit, like I don't get the privilege of being able to look up in location to see the SpaceX rocket go overhead. But pictures like those that I've been posting sort of really define it for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you can see you've got people there, so you can kind of see the scale of it. It's a pretty big container that thing's shipping in.
My Discord just completely froze out on me.
Right.
Yeah, AK9DJ is watching. She just tweeted me back. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the launch.
Yep.
We can go back and watch liftoff again.
Yeah, feel free to tag me on Twitter. I can't currently see the YouTube chat, but feel free to tag me on Twitter if there's a part of the launch you'd like to watch again.
So I can't really find anything on the dimensions of these satellites.
See if I can find it for you now, Rich.
That's an interesting lighting effect on the plume there.
It's odd, the kind of information that you can find. You can find really sensitive information on these satellites, including which S-band frequencies that they operate on. But at the same time, you can't get the dimensions. Which seems like a basic thing to me, but...
Discord is completely frozen. I was going to send you some cool GIFs of... I'll just go from the Sirius XM wiki page, but that's fine. We can proceed without.
That's what I'm on.
That's actually not that terrible. If you wanted a Sirius XM receiver for your vehicle, it's around $38. Pretty good price.
Then you got to get the subscription as well, right?
This is true. You'd have to get the subscription as a separate cost.
They probably make the equipment more affordable so that they can finish paying for the equipment on a subscription. By the time you've had it for a few months, you've finished paying off the cost of the device.
Yeah.
That's a really common business strategy with hardware if you've got a secondary income from the item. I just love that flare. It fans out. Spectacular.
So I think we should probably call it quits with the stream there. I think we've probably rewatched this enough times. It's early enough in the morning that I might even be able to plough myself back into bed for a little while.
Yeah, it was an early one today, for sure. Especially considering we went to sleep a few moments ago.
There is a good point, because I ran a poll last night to see what Twitter thought regarding who was going to...
Yes, you did. And I was the last one. I was the last one to get up.
87.5% of people that voted had confidence that we would all make it, with the remaining 12.5% believing that Astro Rody wouldn't have made it. So here we are.
And I totally don't understand that, but okay. I mean...
Maybe they are still waiting for your STEM show, and so with that in mind, they feel you're going to be late.
That's fair.
Just a theory.
That's fair. That's fair. But we should have some things soon. Now that I've got the studio reconfigured to actually reshoot that footage, because I've actually shot the first video once and then we scrapped it, which was a good idea, and so I'll be refilming it pretty soon here. I think I'll have a break in my work schedule this next week, so I'll reshoot it this week and start editing it again, and then I have that interview that hopefully tomorrow, or today rather, I guess, I'll be able to finish editing the Patreon version, and then I'll need to film the intro and outro before we post that. So hopefully that'll get done pretty quick here as well too. So there is content coming, and I have a few scripts that are in the works, so we should have some stuff coming, and an okay cadence. Not an ideal cadence, but an okay cadence on content from yours truly.
STEM study.
All right,
So,
well...
Shall I kill that on YouTube, or are you going to do it in studio? Shall we wave bye to everyone?
I think we should wave bye and thank everybody for coming and participating, and feel free to leave a comment down below and let us know how silly this whole thing was, because it was a little silly. Thank you for watching, thank you for joining us and laughing along. Everybody have a great day.
Bye.